So I'm going to wait and see who's going to hop on here. I want to say happy full moon in Sagittarius. We are now, of course, officially in this gateway of energy from this full moon on the 3rd of June through the 6/6 portal. And if you have not watched the video on that, I highly suggest that you do. This is a really big, powerful, pivotal energy that we are in right now. And with this full moon in Sagittarius, we are in this process currently of releasing density, releasing these old belief systems, releasing our fears, releasing all of that which still prevents us and kind of holds us back from stepping into our power and stepping into our light more firmly. Anything that attaches us or keeps us kind of netted into the old inorganic timelines, the inorganic earth, the inverted matrix, we are in the process of releasing those things and having that opportunity to do so as we move into that 6/6 energy over the next couple days. So big stuff. Check out that video if you have not yet. I want to say hello Thorn Rosa, hello Third Eye Vision. Great to see you both. Today we're going to be talking, we're going to be getting into some more detail about some stuff that I have been alluding to, and we've kind of sprinkled little breadcrumbs here or there as far as hello Clown Atlas, as far as what exactly this planet is, what's going on here, what these forces or these energies are that we discuss and we talk about all the time, what their game is, so to speak, and how it is that we beat it, I guess you could say. Right? How it is that we ascend out of this inverted AI matrix and what it means to be in an inverted AI matrix. Hello, Pete. Welcome. Thank you for welcoming everyone as you always do. Hello, Endure Ascension. And this isn't going to be a super long live stream tonight. I do have to go into work and bring some light into some interesting places in a few hours, couple hours here. But I wanted to hop on here and I wanted to do this video in the peak of this energy. I want to say right now, before we get started, I am currently burning my etheric Palo Santo. All of you, if you feel called to cleanse your space, if you feel called to add in that cleansing energy as well, we are saying right now, as we are about to explore this content, that we do not consent to any trolling. We do not consent to any lower vibrational energy. And as my teacher Aurora likes to say, we do not consent to anybody's entities. And so anybody who is hopping onto this live stream with the intent of disrupting this energy, just know that we do not consent to that. We are not going to play into those games. If anybody notices any of that energy going on, just go ahead and report that person and then could just block that energy out. All right, because we don't consent to that. We don't have time for that. Hello, Whiskey Mike. Welcome. Hello, Mitchell. Oh, we got a good group on here. I'm so excited right now. And I just realized that my phone doesn't tell me the time while I'm on the live stream. So, but don't worry. It's all going to go perfectly according to divine timing. But yeah, we want to set those really strong boundaries. And we've been talking about this a lot lately. And as we get into this content more, you guys are going to understand more why it is so important and so imperative to set those really firm boundaries, to have those shields in place. When we walk around without shields, when we walk around without strong intentions as to what energies we are willing to entertain and what energies we are not, we are consenting to things by default. That's a big part of this energy here, and a big part of the way that these energies work, right? Is it's this energy of consent by default, and putting and sprinkling information out there, kind of like hidden in plain sight, so that it's like it's been released, but it really hasn't. Like, you have to really be able to see and understand and interpret what's going on. You have to be able to look underneath. We really need to practice discerning. We need to make that such a key point. And the 6/6 portal and the full moon live stream, or not live stream, the full moon video that I just put out, we talk about discernment and we talk about how we're all being tested in our spiritual discernment at this point. So we really want to know. And I want you guys to discern and to hold everybody up to that scrutiny, including me. If there's something I say that doesn't resonate with you, then don't just accept anything that I say. All right. Know that as we're going through and we're talking about some of this stuff, as we're talking, I'm going to be talking more and more, and Pete and I as well, about this energy of false light teachings and all of this about just really judging everyone. I want you guys to use that same discernment when it comes to me. All right. Because I could just as easily as anybody else be speaking untruths or like, as far as you know, right? You need to be able to discern that. You need to feel into me with your heart resonance to see, to be willing to dismiss anything that I'm saying if it isn't resonating with you. And you need to be shielding yourself even when you're watching these videos, my videos. All right. I want people to be doing that all the time with absolutely everyone. It is so incredibly important. You know, I take great care to ensure that I am not spreading any entities or any of those energies around. But you want to approach everyone and everything with that level of shielding and with that level of discretion and discernment, right? Okay, hello, Vita. Welcome. Hello, Fresh Start. Hello, Goddess Juliet. Sipping some tea here, some ginger lemon tea with a little bit of dandelion in it. I think many of you who have caught a couple of the live streams recently, I was talking about how since my second aura session, I quit smoking cigarettes for good. And some of the physical side effects of that, I'm sipping on the tea here, hoping to, it's a whole body process, you know, whole body healing. And we have to love our bodies through those processes and support them as best we can, right? And I appreciate you as well, Fresh Start. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about this. And so there is a certain amount of information that I'm able to share. There is some information that I am not able to share at this time that I have become aware of simply because it's not the time for everything to be revealed. And much of this stuff, I will say as a disclaimer, are things that I learned through my teacher, Rising Phoenix Aurora, and also through my own process of my third eye opening more and my ability to discern and to see truth coming online more as I've been working with her, as I received my aura training certification, my raw Reiki training certification. So it's a combination of the things that I'm feeling and sensing that are resonating with me and the information that she's uncovered both through her channelings and through all of the soul regression, past life regression, quantum healing, however you want to sort of label the energy of that, all these regressions that she has done with clients and that her practitioners have also done. And this sort of these volumes of information that have been put together as a result of that. So this is where a lot of what I'm talking about is coming from. If you guys want to get more detail on some of the stuff that I'm talking about, you can absolutely check out Rising Phoenix Aurora. She has a YouTube and she also has a Rumble. And on the Rumble, she gets into the more sensitive content that can't be discussed on YouTube. And so just know as well that as we're talking about this stuff, I'm going to be having to censor myself to the point that YouTube is going to allow me to speak, because YouTube does not, as we know, allow for completely free speech. At this point in time, very few platforms do. Rumble at this time appears to be one of those platforms that is allowing that free speech to occur in its full extent. So when we're talking about this, we're understanding that we live in a matrix, right? When we're looking at the earth. And so how do we want to go about this? So as I think how I want to start talking about this is the understanding of earth as a school. Right. And so this was how information was first relayed to us when we started seeing and understanding more about the construct and the reality that we are present in. When different hypnosis modalities that were regressing people back to the soul level, that were connecting with people's higher selves, their oversouls, all of this, when all those practices first began, and the different ways that people were gathering information, right? I'm not saying that's the only way that people were gathering information, but there was this understanding that started to come together of Earth as a school, as a place where souls would incarnate in order to learn lessons, in order to grow spiritually. And the Earth is absolutely that. It has always been that. However, when the Earth first began, it was a fifth dimensional school. It was not originally a three-dimensional. We were not originally in this level of density. It was a fifth dimensional school. It was kind of that idea where souls, it was this beautiful melting pot of energy where all of these different souls, all of these different alien races from all and magical creatures from all over the universe could come together, could choose, like we say, choose their avatars, choose their bodies, come on down, have this experience together, learn from each other, grow with each other. It was just this really gorgeous, beautiful crystalline experience that we were all having together. And so there was an energy, and there is still information coming out about the exact origins of this energy, the exact moment as far as I'm feeling and sort of resonating and understanding it, where this energy accessed our universe. Some of that is still being revealed. All right, so we're not necessarily working in the gray areas of all of that right now. We're just working in like the nuts and bolts of like what's going on here and what we need to understand in order to proceed at this time. Because remember, we always receive the information that we need at any given point in time in order to move forward. It's just like when we talk about our souls guiding us, right? Our higher selves guiding us. They don't give us all the information at once. They give us the information that we need at the time to take the next step. So that's kind of where we're at right now as a collective. It's like we first came to understand this beautiful matrix, right? This beautiful earth school as this school for souls. And that is true. And that was what we needed to know and wrap our heads around, the multidimensional of us in that, and this school that we are all participating in. Like, we had to be able to wrap our heads around that first. As we get closer to the ascension, more is being revealed because we're ready now. We've reached a certain point where we're ready to see more. We're ready to understand more, because when we see and understand more, when we bring more into our awareness, we then are able to hold more light. The more darkness we are able to see and alchemize, the more light we are able to hold. All right? And there are two different types of darkness that we're going to talk about. The darkness that we're focusing on in this live stream, and I don't even necessarily like to use the word darkness, but we really don't have a whole lot of great terms to use, because we have organic darkness as well. And that gets confused sometimes with this inorganic darkness, which is what we're focusing on in this live stream. Our organic darkness is this beautiful balancing energy to our organic light. Right? It is the void. It is that energy where all possibility exists, right? It is the unexplored, ready to be explored so that inspiration can come from it, so that knowledge and wisdom can be gained. That is our beautiful organic darkness. That is not the darkness that we are talking about when what we're discussing on here. Or what we're mostly discussing on here is inorganic darkness. And I'll get into that in a second, what that means. And so we're not sure when this energy, this inorganic darkness, accessed our universe, but we do know that one of the tipping points, one of the main energy of when this darkness, we call it artificial intelligence, accessed our universe, accessed this planet, the Earth, particularly, all right, talking about the Earth specifically, and really got a foothold here was during actually Lemuria, because Atlantis was part of Lemuria until Atlantis fell, until this energy infiltrated, and there was actually a bifurcation, a splitting away of energies, where Lemuria had to separate out Atlantis from itself. And this energy, and like I said, if you're intrigued in learning more about that, check out Rising Phoenix Aurora's YouTube channel, because she goes much more into depth into a lot of these concepts than I'm going to be able to on this live stream. All right. But the fall of Atlantis, that was when we first saw this energy really be able to manifest in this physical realm. All right. So this energy, this inorganic darkness, what is it? So what the name that we have chosen, that many who are aware and working, consciously working to assist in neutralizing and liberating ourselves from this energy. The term that many use for it is archons. And so there's a lot of different, if you go down rabbit holes on Google, you can find a lot of different definitions for what is an archon. All right. In this specific context, what we are, when we use the word archon, what we are discussing is an entity or a collective of entities who have no love light, who have disconnected themselves from source, completely separated themselves from source, and contain no love light within them. They are, in essence, because they contain no love light, which makes them inorganic, because the organic creations, organic universes, they contain that, right? The love light, that spark of source. And so they are essentially now artificial technology. They are artificial intelligence. This is the energy of what we're dealing with. Beings, or a collective, a consciousness, right? A collective consciousness, if you will, of entities and energies who have forsaken, for lack of a better term, their source light. And because they contain no longer contain source light of their own love light, they must in order to have, so they have power in two ways. Their power comes through their advanced technologies. Yes, they would lack, empathy is not a thing that exists, right? Because that empathy is a byproduct of love light, right? So these, sorry, I gotta hold off on the comments for a second so I don't get too distracted. Okay, so let me backtrack, get out of the comments for a second. I love you guys. We'll save the questions for the end. If you guys have questions, I might have time to answer a couple. So they have no, because they have no love light of their own. So their power. All right, so we're talking about their power, right? This comes from two things. It comes from their very advanced technology. Because they are inorganic in nature, they have no organic, that connection to source is what gives us our magic, for lack of a better word. All right. Our psychic abilities, all of this. Theirs come more from their technologies. They do not have these organic capabilities and abilities. So their abilities come from the technology that they create, which is advanced beyond what we could possibly even fathom. All right. And it also comes from they gain energy through consuming our energy, through consuming our love light, as well as our fear. All right. So they consume our fear, they consume, and they consume our love light. That is, we are like batteries for them. They consume entire planets, they consume entire universes. All right. And this is how they charge their batteries. Every creature in existence has a way that they charge their batteries, right? For us, it's being out in the sunlight. The sunlight recharges our batteries. Our connection to source, right? Because the sun is a manifestation, one of the most direct manifestations of source energy, source love light. So when we connect with the sun, it is literally our life force and it is recharging us. All right. So we connect to source to gain our energy. They connect to us and they siphon that off of us. All right. And so this is what's going on. They have infiltrated our universe. And the way that they do this is with their technology. Like we said, they have very advanced negative technology. So they use this technology to rip holes in dimensions, to insert themselves places where they are not meant to be. All right. And so this is the thing, when we talk about this beautiful organic universe and the balance of dark and light, we had our own balance and our own energies of this before these energies were present. These energies were not part of our universal construct. And they do not contain, like we said, they no longer contain love light, which means that they are unable to positively polarize. And when we are working with them, they must be neutralized, because there's nothing else that we can do with them or the negative technology that they create. And they use a lot of negative technology. When we talk about on here, the cabal, for example, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, a lot of people on here are very aware of this energy. And that's actually how my spiritual awakening, part of my spiritual awakening began. One of the first kind of bombs that was dropped on me, I guess you could say, many years ago, maybe 15 years ago or something like that, was this conspiracy theory energy, right? And I started learning about the cabal. I started learning about these energies. Hello, Pegasus, welcome. And so And it was one of those things where as soon as it was presented to me, I was just like, oh, absolutely. That makes perfect sense to me. It was like I could feel the truth in it, because this construct as it is, this reality, right? This matrix that we're living in, it does not feel organic, right? We can see the beautiful organic nature of it in nature herself. But when we look at the construct, when we look at the ways that we live, when we look at the ways that people behave sometimes, it doesn't feel organic, right? And so that was the idea that there was an elite shadow government, that there were these energies that kind of united behind the scenes in order to control and orchestrate things for nefarious purposes. That made absolutely complete sense to me. And so now it's like we're beginning to understand who those energies are. And the fact that those energies, those incarnates, if you will, those people and reptilians, yes, there are many reptilians that are involved in that. They're kind of like the foot soldiers. All right. The true power. I don't even like using the word power because I don't want to give them too much of it, right? The true energy behind that energy are the archons. All right. They are the orchestrators. And so we have their foot soldiers, which would be the people that have been convinced, right? Who have essentially sold their soul over to this energy. All right. In exchange for power, in exchange for the things that they think they want in this lifetime. The reptilians. So one thing about reptilians that we have found is that most reptilians are actually foot soldiers as well. They were the natural balance to the light, if you will. Like reptilians are creatures are extraterrestrial races who were designed organically to feed off of light. And so that was to keep a balance, to keep the balance of the negative and the positive polarization going, right? So we don't have too much of one thing. All right, so they were meant to do this, and they do their job very well. And so when the archons were able to access our universe, they observed these beings who naturally fed off of light, and they saw them as a perfect opportunity to recruit, if you will. Kind of like you think about how the army recruits people. Well, the archons recruited the reptilians to work for them, to assist them in their purposes on this planet. All right, and the reptilians entered into a contract with these archons, not really fully knowing what it was that they signed up for and the weight of what it is that they signed up for. All right, and now many of them are kind of trapped, and a lot of them have completely forgotten what it feels like to be their own entity, to have control of their own minds, right? They are working towards these agendas of controlling our minds. Most of us have fractals and pieces of reptilian consciousness within us. This is one of the many, many things that we remove during an aura hypnosis quantum healing session and a raw Reiki entity removal session. And if you guys are interested in either one of those things, go ahead and email me. So what was I saying? Yeah, but many of them we find during these aura sessions, because during an aura session, we're able to talk to these reptilian consciousnesses because they were once organic and they still are organic. Many of them. All right. So they still hold a spark of love light, source love light within them, and they are able to positively polarize. And so one of the things that we do in aura sessions is we offer them the opportunity to positively polarize. And thousands, millions, I would say at this point, of reptilians have been offered that opportunity and have chosen to positively polarize and remove their consciousnesses from millions of people. One reptilian can fracture their consciousness and have their consciousness implanted in thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. All right. And so that's a really beautiful, profound thing that we've been able to do, is release them from these dark contracts, allow them to positively polarize. The archons, as we said, cannot be positively polarized because they do not contain source love light. They are artificial in nature, as are the technologies that they create. And one of the other things that they do is they do merge. They farm souls, they collect souls through different means and merge them with artificial technology. So they take something that was naturally organic, they merge it with something inorganic, and they create a hybrid type of an energy. And that's something that they've been doing with us through different endeavors, is what we'll say on this platform right now. All right, so we really want to be careful with that. We want to know that that is a big part of their agenda. This is one way of looking at and understanding transhumanism. We don't want to get down a wormhole with that, though. Let me see where I want to go, because there's a lot of wormholes we can go with all of this, and I want to make sure that we get like the basic facts and ideas here. All right, so as we said, this planet was originally a fifth dimensional school. All right, as the archons and their energy and their venom, they essentially infected us with a virus. All right, they are the virus, is another way to look at it. They are the virus. They've infected us with this virus, and it caused us to descend from a fifth dimensional planet to a third dimensional planet. And at this point, the souls that did originally volunteer to incarnate here are now essentially trapped. They're trapped. They're stuck in these loops, in this low density. The foot soldiers on the ground, right? The reptilians, the other incarnates, if you will, in human bodies, some of which understand what's going on, many of which don't, are assisting in keeping us in the lowest consciousness possible. Some of the ways that we do, it's all mind control, right? Many of the people on the lower levels of what you would call the Illuminati, the Cabal, these different energies, they think that they are actually like we are in a satanic matrix, so to speak. Like they think that they are working with Satan, who is a made-up entity. Satan does not exist, all right? There are entities do exist, all right? So we don't want to get confused about this. But Satan, that specific energy, does not really exist. So when they are doing these black magic rituals, this dark sorcery, all the different things that they do, and they think that they are worshiping and gaining power from Satan, it's actually the archons. That's who they're actually worshiping. That's who they're actually feeding through all of these black magic rituals, through all of the things that they do. All right, so we have many different types of entities on this planet. We do have demonic entities. Those types of entities do exist, what we would call demonic entities. All right. Many times we don't really, you would surprisingly, because that's the type of energy that most people talk about, right? The bulk of what we find when we do entity removal sessions are reptilian consciousnesses. We find other types of just random disembodied entities, if you will, that look like all different types of things, all right, that are just parasitic in nature. Some of them contracted, some of them not, all right? We find archonic energies within people that need to be neutralized, other dark alien consciousnesses. And then we find all kinds of different implants, hooks, portals, dark portals, things like this within people. And those are inserted etherically as well as physically sometimes when people have surgeries, when people have different things like this going on. I know this sounds really wild to a lot of people, but this is what we're finding. This is what we're finding. And remember, this is not just like me going into somebody's energy and observing these things myself. This is like people in hypnosis sessions speaking from their own lips and saying what they are detecting as their higher self. So, yeah, it's there. It's there. And the purpose of all of these things is to continue to keep us in a lower vibration, to continue to keep us stuck in these cycles. Like we said, I kind of referenced this a little bit, how most souls all here are trapped, right? All right, so everyone originally offered and was very excited to enter this Earth school. And somewhere along the way, these energies we fell right into these lower dimensions, and we got stuck, trapped in these cycles of reincarnation, these cycles of accumulating trauma and karma, negative karma. And we're just going through the motions over and over again, repeating lifetimes over and over again. We are repeating a cycle that occurred when these energies first had their major point of access to this planet during that fall of Atlantis. We are repeating these cycles over and over and over again. All right. One who was instrumental in the fall of Atlantis as a being who was corrupted by these archonic energies is the wizard Merlin. So you guys want to be aware of that too. Do not ever work with the energy of Merlin. If you have, you definitely want to receive an aura session, entity removal session. You need something that goes deep like aura, because that energy is very dark and it goes very, very deep, and it corrupts on a quantum level, as these energies can when they really get entwined and meshed with us to a certain extent. All right, anyone who offers to allow you to work or wants you to work with Merlin, you want to turn around and you want to run the other way. Because even if they're not consciously infringing upon you, it will still happen. Because once again, like we said, consent is a real funny thing. It's one of those fine lines where like we consent all the time to things that we don't even realize we're consenting to, simply by allowing, simply through inaction, right? Simply through not setting boundaries. And that's why, like I said, you want to be really, really shielded. Anytime you are absorbing anything, okay? Anytime you're watching anything, anytime you're listening to anyone, as soon as you start resonating, you are consenting. All right? And we're going to go more deeply into that topic on other videos. Like I said, we don't have time for all of that to get super deep into all of this right now. I just wanted to give you guys the bullet points, the energies here. Oh, thank you for that generous donation, Whiskey Mike. Much love to you. And I know this is a little bit of a leap for some people, which is really funny to me, because I had to think about this, because some of this was it was like I said, my kind of cherry got popped, so to speak, as far as some of this stuff a long time ago, right, with the conspiracy theories. And I was actually laughing about it. I posted something on our group. We have a Facebook group, Cosmic Creators, for anyone who wants to join that, where we can continue to connect offline. Or, well, it is online. I mean, off of YouTube, I guess. And I laughed about how I was really interested in the whole conspiracy theory. And there's a reason why they label us like that, to make us sound like nutbags, right? Going down that whole spiral. And I came across David Icke. And David Icke, for those who are not aware, he is they tried to make him a laughingstock, because he was talking about reptilians and negative aliens and all kinds of this stuff way before people were ready to hear it. All right. And I remember even myself, when I was really resonating with him, and then I got to reading the more about where he was talking about the reptilians. And I was like, I don't know, ma'am. This might be a little bit of a stretch for me right now. So I'm going to put this down for a little while. I'm not sure how I feel about this. And now it's like I came back full circle, but we've gone beyond, because they're just the tip of the iceberg, like we said. All right, this goes deeper. And I want people to know and understand too that there came a point recently where I was actually exposed to some of these ideas. I mean, it's always kind of been there in the background, a lot of this, right? Like we said. But it kind of came, really presented itself to me very loudly, probably 4 or 5 months ago. And at that time, I looked into it a little bit. I entertained it a little bit, but I was like, I don't know if I fully want to go there right now. I'm comfortable in some of my belief systems about what this earth is. I don't want to think, even though, of course, it's I believed in the shadow government. I believed in all of this darkness in that way. But it's I didn't want to take that final leap to really acknowledge how deep this stuff goes. I guess. Right? There was a disconnect there. So I kind of just put it to the side, and I was like, I don't know if I want to focus my energy there right now. All right. But I did ask my team and my higher self. I said, listen, I know that part of what I'm meant to do is to shed light upon this. All right. I'm always dancing around these topics when I do videos for you guys. All right, because I know there's something here and I know it needs to be spoken about. And for a long time, I was afraid to speak out about it because I was afraid they were going to cancel me, or all of a sudden my channel was going to disappear. And like I said, look for me on Rumble under the same channel name as this if that does happen. I was afraid to fully speak the truth. All right. And I was still a little bit afraid of what the truth might be that I was meant to speak, that I was meant to share. All right. But I knew that I was meant to do that. And so I asked my team, I said, listen, I know I meant to bring awareness to this, but I need to know what's really going on here. So send me more information so that I don't feel like I'm just stumbling in the dark, because the last thing I want to do is just spout off a bunch of stuff that has no real basis or weight to it. You know what I mean? Just like throwing energies, throwing information out there that may or may not be accurate. And yes, like we say, to an extent, truth is relevant to the observer, to perception, but there is an ultimate truth underneath all of that. It's like if a super simple example is like, my truth might be that it's not raining outside, but if it is in fact raining outside, I'm probably going to get wet when I walk outdoors. I mean, if my belief system is strong enough in my own personal bubble or reality, maybe I can dodge between the raindrops. I don't know. So in effect, it may not rain on me, but you guys get the idea of what I'm trying to say. Like, I needed to know and understand what was really going on. And so I made that request to my team. And then my teacher now, Rising Phoenix Aurora, was essentially dropped in my lap. My friend called me up. She told me she had taken this course. She had gotten trained, certified in the aura. She would love to do a session on me. And it was like, I just instantly knew this is what I was meant to do, instantly. It's like, when you're doing the things that are meant for you, there's not a questioning of it, right? You just instantly know. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn that. And so, of course, I did the obligatory. I watched, I turned on one of Aurora's videos. I watched her. I kind of resonated, felt out her energy. But I already knew, because my soul had already told me in that moment that was what I was going to be doing next. And I've questioned myself a lot. I question absolutely everything. If there's one thing I'm really good at, it is questioning, to the point that perhaps it is almost, I don't want to say crippling, but it can be difficult sometimes, the level of questioning, but it's good and it's healthy, I think, as long as at the end of the day, I don't question my own internal compass so much that I get thrown off course. All right. That's where questioning becomes dangerous, when we can't even trust ourselves. Paralyzing. Exactly, Clown Atlas. All right. So we don't want to question ourselves into paralysis, but we do want to question things, and we do want to constantly be evaluating and reevaluating and testing with our resonance. But we want to be able to know the difference between what's not resonating and what we are simply highly resistant to because of our programming. All right. Because I had to laugh about it at one point, because I was like, because a lot of people there's like this extra level of friction when we start talking about archons. It's like they can admit like there's a shadow government. All right. Then a lot of people can even take the leap to say, yes, there are extraterrestrial energies that are involved in that. And some of them may not even be incarnated physically here, that are controlling these people and these energies. Yes, some of these people are, like dark aliens. All right. But then to take that extra leap to talking about the archon energy themselves, a lot of people just can't go there. And I had to think about that. And I was like, why is it so easy for people to believe in Pleiadians and to believe and understand that we are all these beautiful extraterrestrial races? But then the idea that there are dark aliens out there as well, and that they may have a hand in the corruption of our planet, our universe. That's when we start to see, and I started realizing that's the programming that still exists within me that is preventing me from being able to take that final leap. That was just my own personal process that I went through. I went through a process of being afraid of, what if I'm creating negative timelines by speaking about this stuff, right? What if I'm feeding into something, through my sharing of it. And this is one of the biggest fears that they implant within us, to keep us quiet. But remember, silence is violence. Inaction is an action. Just because I don't acknowledge something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. The elephant in the room, right, you guys? This is the elephant in the room. And it's time we talk about it. All right, we have to bring it into our awareness so that we can transmute it, so that we can alchemize it. We do not free ourselves, liberate ourselves through pretending that there's nothing to liberate ourselves from. All right? And it doesn't make us victims to acknowledge that. Okay? Because this is all about taking spiritual responsibility, taking energetic responsibility. And so that's where we're coming to now, right? All right, so this Archon virus infected our universe, infected our planet. All right, descended us to a lower dimension, has managed for many, many millennia now to keep us trapped in these repeating cycles, right? Karmic cycles, to prevent us from exiting this matrix. All right. So what do we do now? What is the energy now? Like, what is the solution to that? And so the solution to that begins with, and we talk about it all the time on here, right? It's healing the self. It's gaining sovereignty over the self. It's awareness, first off, right? Because if we're not aware, we can't shift anything. We can't change anything. It's having that awareness, and then it's taking that initiative, each and every single one of us, to say, I am not going to be a home for entities, right? I am not going to allow, I do not consent, right, to entities. I do not consent to sharing my consciousness with any lower, we can just say with anyone, right? Aside from my higher self. Right? I do not consent to sharing my vessel. I do not consent to any type of infringement upon any aspect of my being in this or any other time, space, dimension, or multidimensional reality. That is something that I say every single day, in addition to my shielding and everything that I say during that. I do not consent. Emute Ra. And there's a video, there's a beautiful channeling during an aura session that Aurora shares on her channel, Lemurian light language. There's a child that she did an aura regression on who brought through this beautiful, powerful light language. And I would definitely recommend people check out that video. The language brought through in that is very powerful. All right. And so Emute, if I am not mistaken, is I acknowledge, I see through the artificial. Something to that extent. All right. Ra is I fight, I protect. All right. So it's another way of saying I do not consent. Emute Ra. So that's the first step, not consenting, revoking our consent anywhere where we did consent without knowing better, clearing our vessel of these implants, of these dark portals, of these entities. All right. And this can be done many different ways. It is the most effective way is to get assistance with this as we're moving through this process. You can, of course, do some of this if you feel intuitively that you can do some of this on your own. There's nobody saying that you can't. Some entities do require specific methods of removal. Specific, I don't want to get too much into detail of the ways that this is done, but sessions such as a raw Reiki session, an aura session will accomplish this. Sometimes people attempt to remove entities from themselves without fully knowing what they're doing, and they can actually splinter them, and just things can happen that aren't intended, that aren't necessarily. Not to discourage anyone from claiming sovereignty over their vessel, of course. But I'm saying a lot of times assistance is a great way to go about that. But like the most important thing is to start with shielding daily, revoking consent, saying daily, I do not consent. All right. Imagining working with clearing your energy. So bringing flames through your vessel, any color flames that you like. Imagine those purifying, cleansing, clearing. All right. Going when you always want to shield yourself heavily when you are meditating or going into any type of altered brainwave. All right, because this makes you more susceptible. So shield yourself. Start like we talked about, and I'll do a separate little video on this, but sink into your heart center. Feel that energy within your heart center. All right. And feel that flame within, if you will, within your heart. Extend the energy, extend your aura all around you. And set that intention. I invoke my I am love light. All right. Send that in Aurora's book. What is it? What is the name of it? Galactic Soul History of the Universe, which is the first volume that she put out. Definitely worth the read. If you want to learn more about the things that have been uncovered throughout all these different aura sessions and such. She talks about that I am love light shield, invoking that, saying that. You can say that 4 times. I invoke the I am love light in me. This is spreading your own light, your own energy around you as a barrier, as a protection, all right? Utilizing your own energy, your own light. And then setting your personal Merkaba as well, which is the 8-pointed star, as you can see on my hand here. 2 triangles, 1 drawing in energy, 1 pointed down, releasing energy, rotating around you, drawing in energy in a clockwise fashion, releasing in a counterclockwise fashion. The other 2 points, right? So you got the 8 points, 6, 7, and 1 on the other side, 8. Adding any kind of flames, sacred geometries, anything that you feel like adding, just really setting those shields. And then go into meditation and ask your benevolent team of light, always benevolent, your benevolent team of light, your benevolent archangels, your higher self, your own higher self. You can never go wrong working with your own higher self. All right. Even in the aura sessions that we do, the higher self is doing the healing with the additional help of the archangels at times, knowing and understanding that the archangels and the dragons were the first beings created by Source. And they are essentially, we are all fractals of their energy. And so they are our oversouls, so to speak. So it's still our own higher selves. It's just a different dimension of ourselves that we're calling on for assistance in those times. All right. Another thing that we've been trained to do is many people to believe that the archangels, to believe that maybe even the dragons, right? Like, what are they? Dragons are often portrayed as these really angry, fire-breathing creatures. Those are fires of transmutation. We all have dragon guardians. Dragons are very powerful, benevolent beings, all right? But they will fight, right? They are protectors. We're trained to believe that these energies are negative, all right? Which is really training us to believe that we are negative, right? Because we are, like I said, if it resonates with you, remember, take only what resonates. We are fractals of the archangels and the dragons. So to believe they are evil is essentially to believe that we are. It's just the fear, the attempt at fear that's generated there. All right, what else do we want to go over in this specific live stream? I feel like we've talked about a lot. Oh, yes, how we free ourselves. So we're still talking about that. So that's step number 1. We regain sovereignty over our being. We heal our traumas, right? Because our traumas are these points of resonance that allow entities to attach. All right? When we have those vibrations, those energies within our field, that's what allows the resonance, as well as not shielding, that allows these energies to attach. All right. And we know that healing is on a quantum level. So when we heal ourselves, we bring that healing through for the collective as well. Right. We feel those ripples of that energy. So it's very powerful, the act of self-healing. All right. Keeping our vessel as clear as possible. Going through setting up our shields. Bringing through the flames, right? Cord cutting cleansing, transmuting, and we'll go over more of this stuff in different videos. We can't go into all of it today, but these are just some of the basics, right, of spiritual hygiene, as we like to say on here. Having an entity removal session, if you feel guided to, absolutely. Watching what it is that we're resonating with, watching what it is that we're consenting to through all the different ways that we consent. That's step number one. That's what we do. And that is huge when we are able to do that. Because like we said, that healing ripples out. We're able to hold more light. We're able to continue to crystallize our DNA, continue to develop into our light bodies. And that is what brings about ascension. It's the healing. It's the releasing of density, the releasing of entities, right? This becoming sovereign, holding more love light within our vessels. All right, elevating, bringing our energy back to its organic template. As we become organic once more, the earth does as well. And the earth being, like we talked about a little bit in the last video, the lowest vibrational point of sort of like community incarnated consciousnesses in this third dimensional construct at this time. When we release ourselves from the density here, when we ascend here, that ripple brings about an ascension for the entire universe. All right. Okay, I feel like that's a really good point to stop at for today. I have a few more minutes. I don't know if anybody has any questions that came up, any thoughts that they want to share. Let's see. See. Oh, I love that. Satan comes from the planet Saturn. Interesting. Right. So that's just us demonizing like the things that Saturn energy, Saturnian energy represents, right? Which is like being responsible for our energy, boundaries, hard work. Isn't that interesting, huh? That those are things that are demonized, so to speak. An interesting caveat as well, something that was learned through different channelings and aura regressions. And one of the things that's different about aura, and I'm talking about this one because I do offer it, but also because it's where a lot of this information came from. I mean, you can find this information other places. This isn't all just, like there are more people talking about this stuff, all right, but like much of what my sources, so to speak. There are very sacred barriers put in place for this type of healing. Ancient sacred geometries that are utilized to create a very sacred space and energy that does not allow for infringement. And as far as I'm aware, aura is the only hypnosis, quantum healing, regression modality that combines entity removal. So we're releasing all of those inversions and all of that which may otherwise be influencing what somebody is saying, speaking, or communicating in a session. But what was I getting at there? Oh, so something that came through information-wise was that Lucifer, as many people call him, is an archangel as well. Actually, one of the most powerful archangels. And a beautiful, beautiful archangel who assists us in exploring our shadow in order to allow us to, like we said, like we always say, hold more light. All right, so interesting how this fictional character, this Satan character was given his name and demonized to make us afraid. One thing, and so this is really interesting, and I love how we talk about the inverted matrix and this energy of inversion. And I loved when I found Aurora and she was talking about, she called it the inverted matrix, because for a long time I've called it the upside down world. And I don't know if you guys have heard me say this on here, the upside down world, right? And so it's the idea that everything's flip-flopped. Everything is the opposite of what it seems. That's a generally good rule of thumb to go by when we're observing things. I mean, obviously we still check everything with our resonance. But just remember, this is the upside down world. And so another word for that is now inverted, right? The inverted world. And we have this isn't our first attempt at ascension, of ascending out of this matrix. All right. This is actually, as far as the information that has been gained so far, this is our 4th attempt at this. Or this is our 4th reset anyway. One way or another, things are going to be reset. All right. But we get an attempt with each reset at ascension. And we've already achieved that tipping point of energy. All right. So we're just playing this out, essentially. There's always a possibility of anything shifting, right? But essentially what we're seeing and feeling is that ultimately the ascension has happened. We're doing the footwork now. All right. But that doesn't mean that we get lazy. That doesn't mean that we just assume we don't need to do any work. The reason it has already happened, right, in future timelines, and we are just simply kind of creating that energy, that momentum right now, is because we become aware of these types of things, is because we do the things that need to be done. Is because we don't give up, we don't surrender in a negative sense, right? We surrender to our higher selves. We surrender to spiritual truth. We surrender to the role that our higher self incarnated here to play. All right. Many of us, we talk about however we want to label ourselves, right? The 144,000, the light warriors, the star seeds. Flip everything for truth. Exactly. We did. There was a powerful wave of volunteers that answered the call to incarnate here. All right. But we incarnated here knowing that we would become stuck just like everybody else. And the only way out was through assisting and successfully bringing about the ascension. And remember, we're infinite beings, so we have the rest of eternity to do this, right? But why not get it right this time? Why not do it right now? All right? Why not? I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Yes. Yeah. And the more you recognize, she said Lucifer was beautiful. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I've heard. I have not personally worked with him yet, but I've heard that that his beauty is beyond. Yeah, I just got a little emotional there. That was interesting. Exactly. Once you begin to see, you see more and more and more. And I do recommend to anyone who's interested. I mean, I'm really enjoying the Isis Priestess course that I'm taking with Rising Phoenix Aurora, as well as the trainings that I did in order to offer the raw Reiki and the aura, quantum regression, hypnosis, healing, entity removal, so many things, right? It's really opened that up for me more. And the more you're willing to see, and the more you set that intention and you're open to see, the more you do see, and the more you notice it all around you. And it just becomes so glaringly obvious, right? That you're almost like, how could I have missed that before? But it's because you were programmed. And it's because there was a part that didn't want to see, because it's easier to stay where it's comfortable. All right? And it is really comfortable thinking that everything is just love and light and there is nothing negative out there. There is nothing with negative agendas. That's really comfortable. And we do live in a beautiful, benevolent universe. We do live in an organic universe. Because we are choosing that. All right? Because we are choosing that. But to align with that energy, there's some stuff that we have to do. There's some work that we have to do to become truly fully organic again. And to hold down that organic timeline, which we are moving deeper into with this 6/6 portal during this portal of energy. Morning star, yes. Yep. It's comfortable unless you're an ancient warrior. I love it. I love you guys so much. You know, I mean, you're amazing. You're amazing. Everybody in this tribe, everybody on this channel, you know, like you are the warriors, the light warriors who are here to bring about ascension. You know, and I knew when I started talking about this, I might lose some subscribers. Not that we're a huge channel anyway, right? Like we're a very tight-knit group here. You know, we are very of modest size compared to many others, right? But we are some beautiful and powerful souls on here. You know, and I knew that I might lose some people, but that's okay. Maybe they'll come back when they're ready. I knew that the majority of people on this channel were ready to hear and really acknowledge what's going on here. All right. And to not share that is a disservice to every single one of you. And how dare I make that choice of that decision of who I think is ready to hear what? Who am I? All right. And you guys are already right on the same page anyway. You know, you guys are just like me, right? It's just about like filling in some of the dots. They're connecting some of the dots. That's all we're doing right now. And there are more dots to be connected. Like I said, we become aware of more as we are meant to know more. And we're going to talk about more of this stuff. We're going to talk more about shielding. We're going to talk more about I do not consent, right? We're going to talk more about becoming crystalline and organic. We're going to talk more about all of these concepts. So anyone in the comments below, if there's something in particular that you want to explore more, let me know what that is. And also let me know too, those of you who, as I begin doing my aura sessions, if excerpts from or even like full sessions to the point that people allow of their journeys, if that's something you guys would be interested in watching, is videos where I upload the parts of sessions that people are willing and wanting to share with the collective. If that's stuff that you guys would want to watch on here, then let me know and I will start uploading some of that as well. I'm not sure whether it will be large portions of sessions or just clips of the most pertinent parts. You guys check out Rising Phoenix Aurora's page, YouTube channel, and she posts all kinds of her regressions and sessions, so you can get a feel for like what that would be like if I did. But I think it would be really interesting for us to have those as well and to share those. Exactly, Jamie. Jamie said, let your path be the one that leads the way. Those who are meant to be with you will be with you. I could not have said it better myself. I know every single person on this live stream, every single person that's still on this live stream, and hello, Baymax and Jamie. I don't know if I welcomed either one of you, is meant to be here. So thank you. Thank you for holding this beautiful sacred container, this beautiful sacred space and energy tonight. You were all so incredibly powerful. You were all so incredibly ready. All right. Oh, another mantra that I like to repeat to myself daily. I am God. I am sovereign. I am free. I am God. I am sovereign. I am free. I am God. I am sovereign. I am free. All right. Remember that. Each and every one of us. There is nothing more important than that. We are so incredibly powerful once we remember our power. That's what makes us so easy to control here, right? Because we don't remember our power. We went from a fifth dimensional experience where we still probably had some retention of who we were, right? There was probably, I would imagine, some level of forgetting still, because that's part of the game. That's part of how we learned and growed, perhaps. But it wasn't like this complete amnesia that we experience now. And then all of the manipulation, all of the mind control, all of the technology, all of the things that are weaponized and utilized in order to keep us in this forgetful state. In order to bring us into each incarnation with more trauma and more amnesia and more heaviness instead of growing and learning. Like if you think about school, you start out in kindergarten. As you move through the grades, you gain more wisdom and knowledge, right? You're in an upward trajectory, right? That's what we did. That's part of this experience. We descended in order to ascend once more. All right. But it's kind of been, it's not kind of, it's been inverted at this point so that we're actually like moving downward instead of upward. All right. And we're done with that. That's not happening. We're not doing that anymore. All right. I remember who I am. You remember who you are. Allow this energy as we move through this gateway to bring you to a deeper level of remembrance. Continue to cultivate that connection with your higher self, with your oversoul. Allow that to be your guide. When we remember who we are unstoppable because we are so incredibly powerful. And that's the point that we're at right now. More and more people are remembering every day. It's like light bulbs going off all over the place, all right? I see you. I honor you. I respect you. I love you unconditionally now and always. I see the spark of you that is also the spark within me. Knowing and remembering, right? If you guys haven't seen that false light video, definitely check that out. That we only state our oneness with that which is organic and pure. All right, but I see that spark of the creator, the one true source creator, benevolent source creator. I see that spark within you that I will hold also within me. We're taking that spark and we're turning that into a wildfire. All right, this universe is the phoenix. The phoenix is rising. We are all rising with her, as her. All right, you guys. Our light shines so bright it incinerates the dark. I have a really funny story as far as that goes. It was actually, I think, when I first started working with the Bell Vespita angel healing that I do, another modality that I practice, I was assisting some people with entities and with energies like that, with that. And I remember there was a day where I was, I had something playing on YouTube. I was listening to something on YouTube and I had a candle burning. And the reader on there that I was listening to said something like, your light shines so bright. I think they said literally what you just said, Pegasus. That's funny. That's crazy. Like your light, it was something like your light shines so brightly that darkness flees from it, or darkness runs from it, or it incinerates the dark. Something like what you just said. And at the exact moment that they said that, the candle, the glass that the candle was in that I had burning exploded everywhere. It was really wild. And that's true for each and every single one of us, right? When our light burns that bright, it literally burns away the darkness. But in order for our light to shine that bright, we have to rid ourselves of the inversions within. And not feel shame about the fact that we have them. We are in an AI inverted matrix, a satanic matrix, if you will. Of course we have them, all right? We didn't always shield. We weren't always aware, all right? We were vulnerable. We were open. There's no shame in that. There's no harm in that. The only harm comes when we refuse to acknowledge that and take responsibility for that and do something about it. All right. You guys are incredible. You were so beautiful. I do have to go now and get ready for the rest of my evening here. But we will touch base and we will talk very, very soon. And yeah, we'll talk soon. You're amazing. Yes, exactly. See, you guys know it all. You know all about Lucifer. We are all on that same timeline. It is so beautiful. I love it. right? Yeah, I love it. I love you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. Moving through that 6-6 portal. Release whatever you got to release. Whatever's coming up right now, let it go. Whatever belief systems want to be shed. All right? Whatever, pay attention to who and what you're resonating and aligning with right now. Make sure that it resonates in complete 100% resonance with your soul. All right? Take care to look at the choices that you're making on a daily basis, knowing those are determining your timeline. Every day I am waking up on my highest and best timeline. All right? Thank you so much. I'll talk to you all soon. If you guys haven't watched the 6-6 portal full moon in Sagittarius live stream, go ahead and do that. Definitely do that. And like I said, if you haven't seen the false light video, do that as well. Those are going to be the first 2 videos that pop up because they're the most recent ones that I released. All right. Good night, everyone.